Hello and welcome to No Rest for the Weekend. I'm Jason Godbey, and today on the program, we've got two great interviews coming by way of the Slamdance Film Festival. First up is Shujaat Saudagar, the director of The Underbug, and later we'll be speaking to Marek Kozakiewicz, the director of Silent Love. Joining me now is the writer-director of The Underbug, Shujaat Saudagar. Welcome, Shujaat.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jason. Pleasure to be with you.
It's great to have you. Thank you for making me part of your press junket. And I know that we're all in different time zones, so it's thanks to your publicist for coordinating everything. I know these things aren't easy. So you're coming to us from
From Mumbai.
Mumbai, and is that where you guys made the film?
Yes, in fact, we shot it on the outskirts of Mumbai during the pandemic, during the first lockdown in 2020.
Wow. So tell me about, before we get into because I want to definitely talk to you about some of the challenges of making the film, but how did it come about? Like, first of all, tell us a bit about the story and then kind of give us the inspiration behind it.
Set in the backdrop of India's Independence Day, and communal riots have kind of broken out, all over the country, especially in the city. And it is when two rioters take shelter in an abandoned house, and both of them are at each other's throats, basically wanting to know one another's religion, so they can feel either safe or threatened and take, the necessary actions that they would want to, for or against. And while they are at each other's throats and not letting their identity out, is when they realize that there is a presence in the house. The house is haunted.
That's really interesting. It's a bit political, suspense, and then you've got like a horror, supernatural element in there as well. How did you come up with that? What was the inspiration behind that?
Honestly, the pandemic and the coronavirus was a big inspiration in terms of weaving the narrative. The situation was not really great all around. I would say, just not India, but all around the world. We're seeing a lot of violence, a lot of communal caste, color wars happening. There were lots of lynchings that were happening in India as well. Unfortunately, a lot of intolerance towards certain communities from both ways and from all sides. And that is when we were hit with the pandemic, and no one knew. Everyone was really confused, and sadly enough, people were losing their lives. And for that moment, brief period, I mean, that time it didn't feel brief, but I think everyone forgot about all these differences and were kind of trying to battle a unknown, unseen enemy, so to speak. And that is what I wanted to, that was somewhere a trigger in terms of the horror element of the narrative. What happens when, we are fighting over religion, and we are fighting over class and fighting over caste and all these things, and suddenly there is something which is much more powerful than us, and we don't understand it, the human psyche, so to speak, and how we tend to come together, even as I said, for that brief moment, to battle this enemy, because there is a comfort that we feel in another human being, so to speak. So that is where the idea and the inspiration actually came from.
If you're filming during the pandemic and there's a lot of unrest in the country and things like that, how are you able to actually film this? Well, I mean, because filming during the pandemic shut down in a lot of places. Were you guys breaking laws, or like how did it work for you?
I was in the middle of shooting my web series for Amazon Prime. That's when the lockdown happened in March in India. And I had shot it for about 20 odd days, and we were stuck. March, April, May, June. I mean, we were like stuck at home, and nobody could move out, and things were really bad. that's when I started formulating this thought and this idea in my mind, and I started putting it down on paper. And I called a few friends of mine, the actors, the DOP, who all really close friends. And I said, "Hey, I've got this idea. It's just two characters and it's a house, and I feel it's pretty much doable." Also, the times were very frustrating. We didn't know what to do, and everyone was caged up, and I think they were just waiting for this thought, and everyone bit into it. And sometime in August, early August, is when things started opening up. Travel was allowed in Mumbai with a pass, which was a security clearance. And a friend of mine owns a really beautiful, house on the outskirts. It's a 150-year-old house. So of course we had to be isolated, and we were a small team of about 35 odd people. So we traveled, we stayed in the house. It was really massive. It was an overall 10-day trip. We rehearsed and we, spoke about the scenes. We did blockings on for 3 days, and yeah, we shot it in 7 days. And we took, yeah, we took a camera. We shot it on the Sony Venice. Carry two lenses and four lights. That's about it. And it was also peak monsoon time. Monsoon time. I mean, it's really heavy in Bombay. Yeah, the rain really comes down. And fortunately, that really added to the look and the feel and the gloom that I wanted for the film. It rained throughout the 10 days that we were there. That kind of helped as well. But yeah, it actually, the execution of it happened, I think, really very smoothly, and without much of an hassle, because it was 5 months into the pandemic, and I think we were all just really kind of fed up and frustrated, and we wanted to say and do things, and our craft was the only way. I mean, we could utilize during this period.
I feel like, and maybe you see this as one of the challenges too, like, do you feel like that might be a mark against the film in terms of, do you think it'll date it or lock it into a particular period of time? Like in the film, do you say the year and what, that it's the COVID pandemic, or is it just a pandemic?
No, the film doesn't mention anything. It doesn't mention any period. In fact, it's interesting because some of my friends watched it and they said, they were like, "Is this during 19? Is it 1940s? Is it present day?" You can't really tell because it's a very unspecified space and time that we've kind of created. I have like consciously stayed away from any usage of mobile phones or any technology, so to speak. There is an element of a broken radio which keeps playing out throughout the film. It's about the celebratory mood of the Independence Day, highly in contrast to what is actually happening inside the house. So that kind of provides what is happening in the outside world, but you really don't honestly get a sense of the time frame, the time period. Technically, it's really sound, so I never kind of feared that it would look you know dated. Of course, I mean, with technology today, iPhone films look phenomenal in that sense. But yeah, we shot it on, as I said, on the Sony Venice, on a professional camera, because I wanted a certain finish to the film. I didn't want it to feel pandemic-ish in that sense of it.
I don't know if you've seen it with audiences at this point, or what people are taking away from it, but what do you feel people are taking away from it at this point?
I personally set out to tell was the fatality of using hate as a tool, for by political masters, by religious leaders, by governments. And that is what I really wanted. I didn't want to name a religion. I didn't want to name, because it really doesn't matter. I mean, you have all these things happening on all either side of it, and I wanted it to feel universal, so to speak. So you really never get to know the religion of the characters, or even by the end of it, and you don't even know their names. So I wanted to focus on that, and I wanted to tell the story of men who live on the fringe of society, were used and abused as as weapons against against communities, against society, changing social fabric, so to speak, in the sense to benefit their own political personal gains, because that is what it eventually boils down to. I just feel that poverty is the biggest religion, in the world, and that is where the real arm twisting happens. So
Um,
that is what I wanted to convey, Jason. That was the motive, of the story that I wanted to tell.
you're in Slamdance right now, which is cool. It's a great festival. I don't know where you are in your festival run at this point, but where do you see the film going from here? Do you guys have distribution locked yet, or do you feel like this is a streaming movie? Do you want a theatrical release? What are your hopes for the film?
We are still, in conversation. We haven't locked anyone, honestly, to tell you, from the distribution end of it. This is our first time. It's a first time experience, for us, because it has also taken me 2 years to finish the film. Because every time the lockdown opened, my priority was to go and finish the web show, right? I mean, that was that always had the precedence. So once I finished it this year, then I got into the edit of the film and the sound and the music, and we had a rough cut, but I wasn't too happy, so we kept on chipping at it. This is a first experience, and I personally just want to kind of savor it. I'm loving it so far. They've been Slamdance has been great. The organizers are fantastic. Uh, and I just want to try and learn what it is and how it is in terms of world cinema. And I'm looking forward to attending the festival. Watch films of the other filmmakers. I'm really thrilled about all the films that have made it in Slamdance. Also, Sundance is happening parallelly. I'm hoping to catch a few of those as well. And then let's see. Of course, I would love a theatrical. I would love this message, because I personally do feel that it has a universal language. It could speak to anybody in any part of the world, and I would like that personally. But yeah, let's see how things unfold, and let's see how we where we reach with it.
At this point, you said that you're doing a web series as well for Amazon Prime, which is very cool. Do you have a date as to when that comes out?
That is expected to release sometime in July or August of 23.
And can you
Uh,
say what it's called?
it's called Bombay Meri Jaan, which means to Bombay with love.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, it's based on, it chronicles the Indian organized crime from the 1940s to the 1980s. So it tells the story of the gangsters and the gang wars and the gang lords of Bombay, and right, the inception of pre-independence India.
For people who want to know more about you, want to know more about your work, want to find this film or other things and news about it, where can they find you online?
There is a Vimeo link of all my work, my advertising work. I'm essentially an ad filmmaker. I've been doing advertising for the last 23 years. And a lot of the films which I've also produced are on Netflix right now. There's a feature film, which is a Hindi language film, which is playing on Netflix. And besides that, I've done a feature film, a Hindi feature film, Rock On 2, which again is on Amazon Prime. That's available to watch. The Underbug is my second feature, and Bombay Meri Jaan is my first web series.
Congratulations. This is great. I hope to see great things come from the film. And, if you ever have another project, come on back. We'll talk again.
Yes, 200%. Thank you so much, Jason.
Joining me now via Zoom is the filmmaker of Silent Love, Marek Kozakiewicz. Welcome, Marek.
Welcome. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. You're coming to us all the way from across the planet there. You're coming to us from Poland?
Yes, I'll be there soon.
I want to talk to you a bit about the film. Really interesting film. Can you give me like a little bit about the story and kind of the inspiration behind it and how it came to be?
It's a story about building an unconventional family in a very conservative small village in the north of Poland. It was meant to be a totally different film because I in the beginning, when I was starting the project, I didn't know anything about the relationship of my two protagonists. So the film is basically about brother and sister losing their mother, having to cope with death. And as it occurs, the sister who is trying to become the legal guardian of the brother lives in a relationship with Maya, which she doesn't tell anyone about. And the three of them start to try to build a family. So it starts with death, and then as it evolves, it goes towards life, and hopefully with a happy end.
Basically, you're talking about two women in a relationship, and they're going to be raising a teenage child. What is this like in this environment? Like what you said, it's a conservative town, but there's conservative and then there's conservative.
It's not even a town. It's a very small village. It's a typical conservative Catholic environment of a village that lives like 150 people in it, and there is a small church. There is a priest who says what's good and what's bad. There is a teacher of Miloš who tells what is the difference between a real man and a real woman, and how the what a man should be like and what a woman should be like, and those are constructs that is totally different from what Miloš, the boy, has in his home. And also the political situation in Poland is bad. The government is making out of LGBT people enemies, and is trying to gain votes, trying to consolidate the society. And my protagonists, Maya and Agnieszka, what they have to do is just to stay silent with their love, and they are not talking about it. They are not showing any affection to each other in the village, and they hope that the situation will stay as it is. I mean, because so far, with them not talking about it, not showing any affection, the village is not aggressive towards them. As long as they go on with this unspoken rule in a way, and even though everyone in the village knows they are a couple, it's not like that they don't know. They all know it, but we don't know what would happen if they would start talking about it, if they would start showing affection to each other. That's a question mark. It was also difficult when it comes to getting the guardianship of Agnieszka to his brother. She couldn't tell officially that she's in a relationship. She had to not to tell the truth in the court, and also we had to wait with the premiere of the film till Miloš finishes 18, as we didn't want to make any situation or problems that Miloš would have to leave the family.
Just so people know, this is a documentary. This is a real life situation. It doesn't sound like you could have written a better script. When you see these scenes, as she goes into the office to for the guardianship, I'm like, how did this guy get access to these places? So can you talk a bit about that, and well, first of all, how did you find this couple? Did you know them personally? I imagine that you must have.
Yeah, I knew them, as my mother comes from a nearby village. So my mother was the friend of the mother of the siblings of Agnieszka and Miloš. But when I was starting the project, I didn't know anything about Maya, about the relationship of Agnieszka. So the project was evolving. When I went to the court to get the acceptance of me recording the court sessions, I was neglected 3 times. I got 3 times. They said you cannot do that, but I was determined. I knew it's a very important part of the film, so I kept coming back personally there. And I managed to meet the judge lady who was ruling this particular case, and I managed to convince her, and then she convinced the the institution. But I had to shoot only the face of Agnieszka. I couldn't show, the whole situation. I had to show only the which I found actually even from dramaturgical and artistical point of view much more interesting in a way. We can see every muscle of her face, whether she says, her emotions, her fear. I find it powerful.
When you found out about this relationship, now, was this something that she was willing to talk to you about and said, yes, please, this is what the film should be? Or did you have to convince her?
It was a long process. It's like after a couple of months of me documenting the life of Agnieszka and Miloš, the siblings, and them coping with the death of the mother, it was just after a couple of months that she decided to tell me about it. And I was really surprised. I really didn't expect it. And she confided in me, and it was a really incredible conversation and trust that she put in me, and I became the first person she could talk about her relationship, and it lasted, and it was a process. And if I would tell her straight in the beginning I want to make a film about it, she would say no way. But I continued documenting their life. And Maya just became a part of it, and also, the shooting lasted 3 years, and it was also a long process for them to emancipate, to become proud of their relationship and to start talking about it. And they made their first coming outs while we were shooting. And it was a really long process. And at some point, I remember the first time I pointed the camera towards Maya. And I remember that I was a bit afraid of it. I thought maybe they don't want it. But I remember when I did it, I remember how relieved and how happy Maya was, the partner of Agnieszka, because she started feeling that I'm treating her also as a part of the family. And that was the moment that I knew that the film will be about that, and that the film will manage to happen.
Was there any fear on their part or on your part about showing this film in Poland in certain, is this a dangerous movie?
Yeah, we had loads of fears, but it ended up really beautifully. We already had loads of screenings in Poland on many festivals, and now we have a small cinema distribution in Poland, and we were awarded on many festivals, and we also got quite a lot of press in Poland, and they also even decided to be a part and to give several very honest conversations with the media, in which they talked really about their family and about in a very honest way. And it was incredible. I remember the first premiere in Warsaw, and I remember seeing them for the first time holding hands in the city, out in the public, it was beautiful. And Maya told me that she was crying for the whole week afterwards, after the premiere, and she has never heard so many good words that she heard during the premiere night. But of course we had many fears what would happen in the village, but actually the status quo is still there. They still, even after the premiere, they still don't show any affection. They don't talk about their relationship in the village, and the villagers still accept it while the status quo is there.
Were there certain people maybe in the village or that knew them that found this out for the first time, where it was able to maybe open their minds a little bit and have them come around to the relationship?
I got several feedbacks from people in the village that they accepted. So I believe that maybe it is a big question mark how the villagers would react if they would start openly show affection and talk about their relationship. I believe that it would be still okay, that the villagers wouldn't be aggressive, but I also understand Agnieszka and Maya, the fear of doing that and not wanting to do it as they feel safe in the situation that is now. And I understand that. With all that what's happening in Poland, it would be risky for them to talk about it, and I understand that they don't want to risk it, especially that they still live together with Miloš. Although Miloš is 19 now, they still live together in one house.
what would you like to have happen with the film in terms of, you said you're going to get some distribution, but where do you kind of see the film landing ultimately? Is it you see it on streaming services?
Yes, wherever it's possible. As I just hope it to have the as wide audience as possible, and cinemas are a perfect place to watch the film. I think it is does have this cinematic experience, but streaming as well. It will be streamed in I mean, it is an arte production, so in Europe it is already on some arte streaming in some countries. It will be on Canal Plus in Poland, streamed in a couple of months, and yeah, let's show it everywhere.
For people who want to know more about you, your work, or the film, where can they find you online?
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Vimeo, Marek Kozakiewicz, or through, you can check how you spell my name through the film Silent Love film or Slamdance.
Thank you so much. Definitely, if you have another project, hopefully it won't take 3 years, but come on back. We'd love to have you back on the show.
Thank you very much.
That's all the time we have for today. Thanks so much for taking this trip down the rabbit hole. Now, next week, we'll have more interviews from the Slamdance Film Festival. And as always, you can find more of our content on our website, norestfortheweekendpodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app or on YouTube, youtube.com/getbehindtherabbit. I'd like to thank my guests, Shujaat Saudagar and Marek Kozakiewicz. And of course, a big thanks to our sponsor, JMR Rentals. For Behind the Rabbit Productions, I'm Jason Godbey. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.